Welcome to the Marketing Powers Podcast. I'm your host, Mkwemba Mangangu, and I'm joined by my co-host, Grace Gondwe.
We're both marketing enthusiasts with a passion for sharing our knowledge and insights with you. This podcast is designed to equip our listeners with the information they need to excel at marketing in their different spaces. Our aim is to bring marketing home.
With that said, let's delve into today's episode.
Hi, Tukia.
Hi, Grace.
Hi, Mkwemba.
Hi, Grace.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Tukia, you were on vacation this week.
Must be nice.
We want the tea.
No, vacation was good. It was a good 2 weeks, I must say. Went to China, went to Hong Kong, went to Thailand. Thailand, I must say, is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to.
Show off.
I mean,
Just showing
clear
off.
water, white sand on the beach. I couldn't ask for more.
I have beef with you.
I'm sorry.
Tukia was eating bugs.
You know what?
He was eating bugs, but he doesn't eat finkubala.
I'm sorry, but that's where I draw the line.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's not in order. That's not in order. Please.
That's where I draw the line, guys.
Okay,
I'm
okay,
sorry. But yeah, there are delicacies there. Spiders, crickets.
Look at you. Look at finkubala, not delicacy. Sorry, we have a guest in the studio and she is appalled. She's appalled.
What do you mean?
You can comment. I know we haven't introduced you yet, but you can comment.
You have no shame.
How dare you?
Bugs, spiders, snakes, crickets, squid and octopus.
And you tried everything.
And I tried everything.
But you draw the line at finkubala.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yet they're so delicious.
Inswa? Inswa?
Love.
But not finkubala.
Not finkubala. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
You tried them?
Yes, tried all of them.
Okay, well then it's just a preference thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's still so disrespectful. The Zambian in me is very like, how dare you? How dare you? You know?
I'm sorry, that's where I draw the line.
How were they cooked? Maybe we just need to cook the finkubala in that style.
So they were all deep fried. Like the snake was very crunchy.
But we fry. Okay, maybe the person who cooked the ones you ate, because we fry them, like.
It's just down to tastes and preferences. I think that's what it's down to.
So offended.
I'm so sorry.
You know how much I love finkubala? Like anything, like a snack.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, Grace.
Sorry. No, it's personal.
It's a whole podcast on its own.
We move.
We move.
Okay. Anyway, Mkwemba and I didn't go on vacation, but it's fine. It's cool. We're excited about today's conversation.
Yes, we are.
Like I said, we have a guest in the studio, who I think will introduce herself. We're so excited. She's our first guest and somebody with a wide array of experience that we're looking forward to learning from. Anything, Mkwemba, Tukia, before we go to our guest?
Yes. So you know how we opted. I mean, we have to have a conversation with our guests before.
Yes.
Before we come on. We come on.
Yeah.
So we had a lovely conversation with Tanya, which was supposed to last. I mean, we hope we assume
it will be 30 minutes. Like in and out.
We're out.
Over a quick cup of tea.
We spoke for 2 hours.
Yeah, we're there for 2 hours.
And at the beginning, you thought, are we those being interviewed? Because
We were grilled.
Interviewer becomes interviewee.
No, it was something, huh? It was quite something. Yeah,
No,
let's
it
make
was-
sure that doesn't happen.
yeah. We've set rules here.
Yeah, it's our show.
This is our show. We run it. Glad to have you here, though.
We'll see.
Yeah, so we have a guest and we're not with a particular topic. We're just going to ask her a few questions around her work, her opinions on the Zambian marketing space and all of that, and just see what we can learn and glean from her. Tanya, you're welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you. I haven't even done anything. But thank you.
Glad to have you.
Yeah, we're excited to have you here. I mean, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, let me get started. So, firstly, yes, thank you so much for inviting me. And yes, you were being interviewed because I have standards. Okay. You're lucky you just made it through. You just made it through. It took 2 hours to get
50
there.
plus
No,
1.
I'm joking. But yes, so my name is Tanya Fooks, and I guess a bit of history about me. I am Zambian born, but I moved to the UK when I was 14. And so lived in the UK, family life, blah, 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 blah. So I'd kind of detached myself from Zambia for a long time, just lived my life as you do wherever you are. And then COVID hit, as I think COVID was a game changer for a lot of us. And once we came out of COVID, I was like, me, I need to travel. I can't be staying in this country anymore. And the first place I just wanted to do was coming back to Zambia. So I came back. I arranged this amazing holiday. I did South Africa, Zambia. I had an event that was happening in Livingston. It was a big thing. And then I was going to spend 3 months in Zambia. I was in Lusaka 1 week and people were like, oh, so how long are you here for? And I'm like, 6 months maybe? And then 6 months became, I don't think I'm going back.
I'm done.
And I hadn't even hit 3 months.
Oh, wow.
So I just slowly made the move as in... I just didn't do anything. I didn't go back to the UK. But fundamentally, my work is still in the UK. I work for a UK-based company, but I work remotely. And so it just all works very well for me. So, so I'm back here. I've been trying to understand the space, what is happening in the marketing space, just in general, what is happening in Zambia, because everyone used to be like, there's potential in Zambia. You need to come back. And so, but I realized that there's potential, but it's very difficult to turn into something. So, but we can dive into some of that a little bit more.
As we go on. Yeah. That potential one is like, as a young person, we are the ones who are hearing about it the most, about how we need to make it work here and, there's potential here, just invest your energies and all of that. So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to hear a bit more about that. So in our opening, we have some questions that we ask everybody who comes. And that first one is, how do you define marketing? Like, what does marketing mean to you?
Okay, so it's a good question, and I've heard some of your previous answers. I heard your answer. I was like, oh my God. Anyway.
No pressure. It wasn't that good. Haters in the building.
You're not gonna hate. You notice he wasn't at the interview, Ka? He wouldn't have passed if he was at the interview. No, I'm joking. No, I'm teasing.
Routinely missed it. Yeah.
So I wanted to give probably a relatable definition of what marketing is. Okay. And so there's a marketer called Alan Dibb. And so he's got this a fantastic analogy where he compares marketing to a circus coming to town. And so he basically says, imagine you're the circus owner, right? So you create a simple sign and that announces the arrival of the circus to the town. So this represents advertising. So you're raising awareness and raising awareness about your product or your service. So as part of you trying to get people to hear about this, you take your elephant from the circus and then you take it into the town. And you take the sign and you put that sign on the elephant and then you walk that through town. So this signifies promotion. So you're attracting attention and you're generating excitement. And so while your elephant is going through the town, it tramples on the mayor's flower bed, right? So now this causes a stir and it actually causes news coverage. So that's publicity. So you're generating a buzz, even if it wasn't entirely what you wanted.
Positive all the way.
Exactly.
So to say,
So now, obviously, you need to approach the mayor. You explain the situation. You offer a solution, perhaps even make them laugh. So this symbolizes public relations. So we're building a positive relation.
Managing your
with
image.
the stakeholders.
Our image,
Exactly. So, okay, now finally it's the day of the circus and, you want to make it engaging with potential customers and you want to showcase the excitement. So you're like, welcome, come and see the Taiwanese twins on the trapeze to death. right? So this represents sales. So you're converting interest into actual purchase. So you bring them through and they buy the various things at your circus. And so all of these elements, advertising, promotion, public relations, and sales, they work together under the big top of what is marketing. So that's the basics of what marketing would be. Now, if you are a marketer like me, that was like the 4 Ps. But now we've got digital marketing. There's the 7 Ps. Depends what area of marketing you look at. So now I want to say, I was going to swear. Please let me swear.
We want the real you.
Exactly. This is when you say, fuck all of that. Marketing is actually the fastest route to making money. That's all you want to do. You want to make money.
Exactly. Yes, please. Please, and thank you. Wow.
Mukwemba likes money. Mukwemba likes money.
And I love the
promise you,
definition.
he brings it all back. Whatever meetings we have, whatever conversations we have, trust Mukwemba to be the person who will bring it back to the money conversation. He anchors us with our dreams and hopes. That's really
but
cool.
the reality is that that's all we do any of this for. The only reason you do your job is for money. So you can pay rent, right?
Yeah.
You don't do people who go, I love my job. Sure. Yeah.
But I love my job.
That's a very interesting definition. Love it.
Yeah.
Yes, with the analogy and everything, making it easy for people to follow through and be like, oh, okay, if I can tell the story, I can relate it to marketing wherever I go, not just throwing definitions and saying spice.
Yes.
The side eye.
The jabs at this table.
Too hard. No, I love the storytelling, and in everything that you've said there, one of the most important elements there was content for me. So much, so much content. Even in your storytelling, just defining what marketing means to you, there's content there. Love it.
Excellent.
And I think it captures how it carries through even the different times, like the historic times.
Yes.
Like, early they didn't have TV, they didn't have broadcasts, so they're doing, but now you can use broadcasts, and then now even in the digital spaces it still applies the same way.
Correct.
And I think that's something that I really, really like about marketing, is the dynamicness of it through time. It's still fundamentally all of the things are still applicable. Yeah, thank you for that. So far, it wins.
Okay. Guess number 2. It's not a hard win.
All the best to whoever has to follow up. To follow up on that one. Yeah. And I think the other thing we want to know is what inspired you to come into this space? Like, how did you, what's your trajectory been coming into marketing?
Into marketing. So I did hotel and restaurant management at uni. And in the UK, it's 3 years and then a year in industry. And, it's 4 years of your life. And then I came to the end of it, and then you have all the recruiters that come to the university. So the big hotels, the Hiltons, the Sheratons, all these people would come to recruit. And then it was a starting wage of at that time, I think it was £14,000, which I'm not quite sure what that converts to. But I was like, excuse me? I do what to this 14,000?
To take me where? To take me
the
where?
bus is 7,000 of that money. What am I going to do with this?
And it's not even enough for rent. Yeah.
So I was kind of like, I'm not feeling that. But anyway, I did enjoy restaurant management. It's a fast-paced industry and so on. Life kind of changed for me a little bit. I moved to Spain with my ex-husband and my son. And while we were there, we were like, okay, what should we do? So I'd done a module of marketing and I think it's the only thing I passed. No, I'm lying. I didn't pass any. No. So we moved to Spain, and while we were there, it was like, what should we do? What should we do? So my ex basically, we decided to do graphic design, web design. So he focused on getting all of the, at that point, it was all the Adobe tools, the suite of tools, which was like £7,000 at the time. It was really expensive, but we said, okay, let's get the suite. He learns how to use the different tools, and then I would do business development. And so I didn't kind of see myself in that space, but the more that we did it, the more I would be like, okay, move that there, put that there. And then I was into the graphics. And then I was the one who would speak to the potential customers, and I would say, so what are you after? What are you trying to do? What do you need? And I would dissect and then get the information from them and then translate that to, let me call him my business partner, because keep saying my ex is like, like I'm bitter.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
Yes, your business partner.
Yes, my business partner. So I would then translate that to him, and then I would be hearing their vision and then using him to convert it into an actual tangible item. So we did graphic design, we did web design, and that kind of led into marketing. And I didn't necessarily skill myself up and go to school. I was just like self-taught on the job. I even started doing the graphics myself because I'd seen him do it enough times. And so the bit that's significant about the ex was we broke up. I went back to the UK, and then I then decided to go into what would be marketing roles. And so I was actually stuck at a point. I was like, do I do project management or do I do marketing? Because fundamentally it's the same things, you know. So so that's how I ended up in marketing. And that back then it was traditional marketing. You know, it was like the Pantone colors must be accurate.
Don't make a mistake.
Right. So it was that kind of old school marketing. It was about signage, you know, like websites were just about something that people were doing. The software and website wasn't even like very good. Like we were trying to really push the boundaries of how to do websites. Like we were using graphics and like illustrations, which at that time people just had like a page and a photo.
And the statement.
Exactly. So when I transitioned back, I then decided to go into marketing, and that was again, like I didn't really know what was happening because at that stage then Facebook started coming into play. So that was like 2007 when I first received the invite to Facebook as a, you know, somebody just joining Facebook. And then suddenly Facebook became the tool that you're also using to market your business. So there was a transition, and I was always one of the first ones, like, you know, like now when people do quotes on, you know, I was the OG. But I remember
the originals.
You know, I remember a friend of mine going, why do you always post about these things? And I was like, you don't have to look if you don't want to read.
It's fine.
Literally 7 years later, she's now also posting. And I'm looking going, okay, you found us. Welcome.
We've been around.
7 years later.
We're here. You can come for tips.
Exactly.
Better late
than never,
So that was the transition. I worked primarily really for tech companies. And what happened was I got into the sort of like the social media side. And you were always called a guru because we didn't know what to call marketers who did social media marketing. So you were a guru.
The front runners.
Yes.
The originals.
My boss would be like, she's
That's so funny because I hear the term marketing guru so often.
Now you know.
We were just having a conversation about how marketers and like people who are doing new things in these spaces, like we call ourselves all kinds of things that sometimes don't even make sense. Like guru in this new thing that nobody knows anything about. Okay.
Well, really, the definition of a guru is it's the Indian guru who you go to listen to give you wise advice.
Exactly.
Right? So they don't know what to do with the social media. So the wise advice would come from us who were doing something. We didn't know what we were doing. We were just blagging our way through all of it as well. We're like, I think it works. Let's hope so.
Eventually.
Click here. That's what marketing is about. Click here. It will work.
So I did the social media marketing, and then SEO became a big thing as well. And I kind of put my toe into SEO, and I was like, so that no interest whatsoever. I find SEO so boring and so dull. I'm very aware of what people in the field of SEO do, but I think it's more that science side than the creative side of marketing. And it's kind of a rinse and repeat, right? So here's an article, put in keywords, now get those keywords ranked. Where are we ranking? Okay, how do we move from rank 30 to rank 20? right? Until you get to rank 1. And then like, you're never going to get to rank 1 on the page, but now you're not going to get there for certain things. So it might be your company name. If you've got a unique company name, yes, you can be at the top of it. So I'll give you an example. I don't know if you've heard of buying property in Zambia.
I think I have.
Yeah, so it's a company that's focused on Zambians in the diaspora. And the person who set up the company, I actually worked with her at those early stages. So we were discussing, what do you call the company, you know, and at that time I was helping her think through what's the best way for her to do it. So I said, well, you're in Zambia, selling property in Zambia. Your audience is abroad. So what are they going to do? They're going to go online and search for something.
Yeah.
What are they going to search for?
How to
Buying property in Zambia. So I said, that's what you name the company, because you will then rank number 1 on that search term. So so that gives you an example of like how to think around SEO and make sure that you rank at the top. Because if your name is some kind of weird, fascinating name, like nobody's gonna remember it. You know, that company with those 3 letters, like you know,
something.
Yeah.
If it's not recognizable, you can't recall it. No,
Right.
no one's gonna know.
And Google's clever, but it's not that clever, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, so just boiling things down to the fundamentals and making sure that you rank. But I found it really dull and boring. So I said, bye. So I then moved into really contracting work. And contracting work in the UK is where you do 6 months, 9 months, 2 years. So you can contract up to 2 years. After that, you're considered a full-time employee by the government. So what happens is you can only do two years, then you have to go to somewhere else, or they give you a full-time job. The company has to give you a full-time job. Where this was really great for me was I could work in a company and not deal with the bullshit, the politics, you know? And I used to say to people, I'll give you my answer twice. If you still don't listen to my answer, that's your choice. I've done my job. I'm not fighting politics here. And then I can just move on to other things. They will be there going, no, but because da-da-da-da. So it's always in companies,
Our
the
company
loudest
culture,
people.
the way we do it. Yeah.
Exactly. It's the loudest people who get heard.
Yeah.
They're not the right people.
No,
They're just the
not the
loudest.
smartest. Yeah.
So for me, I was like, I've got no time to get involved in your nonsense. If you don't want to do what I said, those are my recommendations. I'm out. So I could do 2 years and then I could go somewhere else. And it was always really refreshing because it meant what I learned here, I could take to this next company.
Yes.
And people would be like, oh, she's worked at Intuit. So Intuit are the makers of QuickBooks, which is a huge accounting piece of software.
Yeah.
So they, you know, then I'm now put into this category of I'm very knowledgeable. And I'm like, let me tell you.
Something.
It's not what it looks like.
But thank you for believing in me.
Right.
Yeah, let's keep
I am
that
the
assumption.
guru, after all, you know?
Yeah.
So you have to like, you know, you're learning all this information. But what it did is it would allow me to say, okay, what we did at this company was this. Because sometimes when in a company, when someone is not like perceived to be one of the big people, you don't know, how do you approach the company to say, I have this idea? So if you apply context storytelling, you know, you say at this company, what we did was X, Y, Z, and the results were this. I recommend we do something similar. So, so I then got into that side. So the marketing I then started to turn into was something called like membership marketing. So organizations that was selling membership. So a particular one was a company called Boundless. And they sold membership of like £15 a month to people who they would sell experiences to. It was experiences, but it also wasn't. They would sell car insurance. They would sell trips to, I don't know, like Germany when the Christmas markets were happening. All these things that would be like slightly different and quaint, not normally like English things. They had an amazing membership lifespan. Their members could be members for like 60 years. Let me not dive into the politics. I was going to say what was interesting. I won't dive into that.
It's okay.
So that was the membership marketing. Then what started to happen was tech started coming into play. Our mobile phones, selling you software. So like I mentioned about Adobe, you bought Adobe as a suite, everything for £7,000. now, and Adobe were quite slow to do this, but now you get a membership package for Adobe, a subscription. So you pay £30 a month for your subscription for Adobe. In fact, they will make shed loads more money from you than they would have made selling you all of the packages. Exactly. They sell you 3 packages. In 3 years, they've recouped that money. In 3 years, you're now wholly reliant on their software to do the work that you're doing. And so they make more money from you. So a subscription...
Customer lifetime value.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that subscription piece is where I then said, okay, I find this interesting. Now you've got the acquisition marketing, which is the website, the front end, the leads, the SEO. I was like, nah. No. But once you become a customer, we need to now have a lifetime value to that customer. How long can we keep you? How much money can we make from you? And so that was where I was like, okay, this is an interesting space. And so I went into customer marketing. So my role starts the minute someone pays money to become a customer of product X. And now I have to make sure that I onboard you as quickly as possible. I engage with you during your life cycle with us. I cross-sell and upsell so that you buy more from us. And then when you start to leave, I work out how to retain you. So if you become quiet in your usage, how do I pick you up again, like come back? Because once you start to get quiet, it means that you're not interested in the product. And then if you definitely leave, I have to do what's called a win-back campaign. Can I get you back?
Yes.
Oh, you left us. Here's an offer. Please come back.
Yes, please come back.
So you do an offer to them to try and win them back, but fundamentally you analyze why did they leave. And so you take that information and then you take it to the product team and say, here's what the customer says about our product. This is why they say it's shit. Even though you think your product is great, the customer says otherwise. So now change your product based on what the customer
Make it
has
better
said.
so that they can come back or continue to use it.
Yeah. So that lifetime value piece is saying the average customer that we have stays with us for 1.5 years and we earn £10,000 per customer. How do we make that 20 years, £50,000? So that's the tactics that I have to work on. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I like the fact that we went straight into and you've explained what it is you do and what customer marketing is. And all of a sudden I'm thinking, because I remember one time receiving, I think my aunt, I was at home and she received a call. And they said, I think it was from DSTV. So someone called and said, we've noticed you haven't been using your DSTV. Could you, if you pay...
Right.
You got that call. If you pay for 1 month, we'll give you 1 month free. So now you're thinking like, okay. So at that point you're like, these people, free 1 month. Okay, not knowing that, like you said, they're trying to get you back into the system, and then that cycle just continues for you, and then you're like, I'll pay anyway. I enjoyed what I was watching, without realizing that Tanya was behind the works, deciding that this is how I'm going to get you back into that loop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's really, really interesting. I think something we've said before, something I've said before anyway on this podcast is everything in marketing is intentional. Sometimes consumers will think like, oh, this is just a random call. They just said, let me give you a... No.
Not at all.
There are no accidents.
There are no mistakes. They are not like, oh, we just want to be nice to you.
No.
Well, I hope I'm not villainizing.
No, yeah.
But like everything is intentional. And I think that's something that I really, really enjoy because we're being very deliberate about how we're working with clients, how we're enhancing their experiences and how we're doing all of those things. And I think that's really, really cool. So obviously we were going to go into asking about, so what exactly is customer marketing? But you've already answered that. I don't know.
Let me put in just a little bit more. So like if you're going to now define it, it's actually about managing the customer life cycle. So the customer, you define it as, from beginning to end. That's the life cycle of them with us. And then you just split it into different areas. So the larger your company, the more likely that actually the onboarding is actually only managed by one person. The in-life engagement is only managed by one person. And the retention, again, only managed by one person. So this is something, I don't want to keep getting ahead of myself, but this is something that Zambia doesn't consider, that it's not my role as sales and marketing manager. No, you cannot do sales and marketing. You are the marketing, and which aspects of marketing do you focus on? So, yeah. Old school used to be like, I'm the sales and marketing manager. I've even been through those stages when people had those roles. Now, if a company has somebody that does all of that, they do all of it badly.
True.
Yo, that's homework. That's homework for business owners.
Yes.
I mean, whether you're at the early stages, whether you're managing a more mature business, a bigger business, all of those things are things to consider, because ultimately you want to serve your customers well, because that's where your money is coming from. So to just have somebody who says like, I do this and I don't do this well, means that you have holes in your revenue bag. Absolutely. And you're losing money where you could be making more. I mean,
I like the specialization element, and like you said, if you dive deep into it, they're very different things from the acquisition, from a customer being a lead to start, being a lead, a prospect, to acquire that customer, all the way up until you now have a relationship with that customer. They're your partner, basically. They're very different roles, and it's very interesting the way you've actually put it. So it's something for business owners to really
think about.
Yes, and just like you said, we look at it from the company's perspective as well. And like we said at the beginning of this, everything we're doing is to make money. If that's the case, how best do you make money, right? So like Tanya has said, you can't be everything to everyone. Like in the cycle that we have, decide where you're going to be, so that you can create the most impact in that particular space. You know, and that way, I mean, you bring back money to the company as assuming that you're cutting down on costs. And then you have people doing so many roles, and at the end of the day, you realize they're not doing a good job because they're doing certain things that they're not actually good at.
And I think it's good that she mentioned that's where we have some gaps in the Zambian market, because I think the next thing I was going to ask is what are your opinions on what the Zambian market is looking like? Obviously, your specialization is in customer marketing, and but obviously you have looked at what the market is in the last 3 years that you've been around. So, just a general overview. What is the market looking like? What are the opportunities for growth? What can we do better? And even specifically in customer marketing, what can we do? How can we get better?
So my experience with marketing in Zambia started around about 2016. So that company, the company is called Diaspora Connect, and then the website was Buying Property in Zambia. That was the initial contact I had. So at that point, when people were like, hey, Zambia has potential. I decided to, it's funny now thinking about it. I decided to see if I could set up a marketing agency based in the UK, but marketing to Zambia. So I had a few people that said, oh, you would do so well. So I spoke to a few what would be big organizations. I had, Zoom meetings with them. Some of them didn't know what Zoom was. And they were always skeptical, They'd be like,
who are you? Why?
But why should we use you?
Yeah.
What the problem fundamentally is that there is a lack of expertise with marketers in Zambia. So, and I've expressed this to you before, that there's a lot of education, but no experience in Zambia. So I don't believe you can't educate enough for that to become experience. So what you've taught me, in fact, I'll forget. Then I'll be doing my job, and then I'll be like, oh yeah,
something like
that was. Yeah.
So I think this is something that Zambia doesn't understand. We're so busy trying to educate everyone. People don't need education, they need jobs. Once you start your job, you then get experience. Once you get experience, you know how to make improvements in the roles that you're doing. Once you do your improvements, you want to self-improve. And that's the continuous learning that comes in. Oh yeah, we did this last time. How can we do it this time? How can we make more money? How do we up our users by 10%? How do we, move our market from Lusaka to the Copper Belt? Like, all of that has to be thought through. But a lot of people in Zambia, a job is a day-to-day thing. I finish and then I go back home, and that's it. Right? So that progressive self-improvement my beef is that it's great with religion. Everybody wants to tell you everything about the Bible, right? But tell me about your job. It's a different matter. Right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot the question.
No, that says that you're having a good time here. And I mean, we want you to come back. So my question was, what are the growth points, what are the opportunities? And obviously you've spoken to the challenges, but what are the growth points now?
I think, to be controversial, I think companies need to value the marketing role more. They see it as branding, right? We need a brand manager.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
100%.
You know, and branding is one element of marketing, and it's the element that's the more broad element. And
General, yeah.
you know, like they say, if you throw a whole bunch of spaghetti at the wall, maybe one or two will stick, right?
Yeah.
Or the scattergun approach, right? If you fire blah, 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 eventually I'll hit you, right? That's what marketing is still like here. It's not strategic enough. People know the word strategy, but do you know what it means? You know?
Strategize.
How do you create a strategy? It's fundamentally, what is the problem you are trying to solve? So you hire a brand manager who does your social media. What problem are they solving for you? So what I see is our CEO, we wish you a happy birthday. I don't give a shit who your CEO is. What? Why do I care about your CEO?
Exactly.
Nakapose kababali.
The folded arms tilted at an angle.
My CEO.
And it's called content.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Please lower your tongue.
Sorry.
Lower your voices.
No, and I think it goes...
Me. The temperature's already high. Okay, go on.
It goes back to intentionality.
Yeah.
Yes, if you're going to be intentional about what you post and what you're going to do, you're not going to end up with stuff like that. You need to be deliberate even in your marketing.
Yeah.
But would you also agree that in Zambia, marketing is still in its infancy stage?
Yes. So, and I did get sidetracked. The point I was trying to make about 2016, for me at that time, marketing was 5 years behind. I just gave it a number, like an arbitrary number, and I said it's about 5 years behind.
Only 5?
I think now we're about 3 years behind.
Okay.
So, and I see good intentions.
Yeah.
Look, you all have the same access to the internet that I do,
Yeah.
right? There's nothing to stop you reading the same things I'm reading. But you want to read Bible verses. So that's your business, right? I'm looking at huge different industry experts or not known industry experts who just seem to work out, this is how we did it. And then I sit there and I go, okay, how would I then take that theory and apply it to my company? And then I go to my job and then I go, I had this idea all by myself.
Guru.
No one helped me.
It came from me from above, this
Yeah.
message.
And in there, you also quote the Bible verse.
And I was
You have to fit in. You have to know your audience.
You do. And there's
communicate in the way they understand.
Exactly.
Zambians throw a Bible verse here in it. Yeah.
And I do that. Sometimes, to be
We're
fair.
going to get cancelled here.
No, disclaimer that there's nothing wrong. We don't discriminate against any religion whatsoever.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah.
It's not the religion that's the problem. It's making yourself valuable to more than just religion, right? Zambia has become too reliant on there's that joke, I don't know if you've heard it, and all of this is marketing. I'm sidetracking, but it's marketing. There is a flash flood that hits the world, and the pastor is trying to find safety from the floods. So he manages to crawl up with some people to the roof of this particular house, and the water is just rising and rising. So it gets to a certain point, and then before it rises too much, there's a car. So he says to people, "Go in the car." So the car is still like in the water. Then somebody in a boat, rescue people come in a boat, and they say, Pastor, come, let's go. And he goes, no, take these children. So he sends the children. So then, the key line is, God will save me. So then a helicopter comes, pastor, and they pull down the rope because now the water's like here. And he goes, no, God will save me. So obviously he dies, goes to heaven, and he goes, but God, I waited for you. What happened? And he goes, I sent you a boat. I sent you a helicopter. I sent you all these things. You didn't go for it, right? So your perception of where your saving is going to come from isn't actually what's going to happen. You have to put the effort. And that effort is God gave you Google. Use it, right? Improve yourself in your role. So that's kind of more where I'm coming from, that, value your own experience to make yourself better. Religion is good for some people. Not me, clearly. It's good for some people. So you have your moments where it's religion, but then you have your moments where it's your experience. This world is so focused on being hustle culture, making money, being, like a winner, getting awards. How are you going to be a part of that if you want to be in that space? Follow what those people are doing,
Learn to work the system, basically. Yeah.
Exactly. So, like, even just speaking to that, right? A lot of us are very reliant on thinking things just happen by mistake. Like, yes, like you said, you use your religion, you go to church and you've got your belief in Christ. It still doesn't take away from the fact that you now have to work hard and make that a reality for you. And these things have to marry, because nothing just happens. You don't just sit waiting for things to happen by magic.
Miracles.
Exactly. So we go back to the aspect of where we try to treat Jesus Christ or the church like he's a magician, which should not be the case. Exactly. And we need to work hard. And that's where the problem is also, just like in the African culture a lot, where people are easily misled, as opposed to knowing that, okay, I need to work hard, and this is where I improve, and going into that.
To that point of being misled, the number of crypto scams that are happening in Zambia, because it's so easy to scam people. Everybody wants the quick win, right?
Yeah.
Give me 2,000 kwacha, I'll give you 10,000. How? Just ask yourself, why you?
Just take a moment.
Why should you be the one who gets 10,000 for doing nothing? This is the money that God is sending you.
Yes.
But guess what? You're the loser.
Yes.
And a lot of money has been lost, A lot of money has been lost.
People
Crazy.
for it day in, day out.
There's been some scams. Anyway, listeners are now realizing how our conversation went to 2 hours. Let's all come back. Yes, so we've spoken about, how we can get better and, the specifics of this. So if I'm starting a business or if I'm running a business at the moment, what are 1, 2, 3 things that I can do, like actionable things that I can do for starting to implement a customer management strategy?
It's a really difficult one, because you have to start with, what are you doing, right?
Already at the moment,
Yeah. So are you a product or are you a service? Really, if you're in the product cycle, as in, I created this lip balm and my job is to sell it. I mean, fundamentally, role one is branding this up, right? Does it look nice? Is it appealing? So you got to make sure your branding is right. But once you brand it, you have to sell it. So now you have to work out, like, what is my sales strategy like? And I always say, start with your close friends and family. They're your biggest critics. And, when people say, it's really good, ignore those, right? It's the one who goes, but why didn't you also do this?
Exactly.
And then you go, okay, I don't like how you said that, but maybe there's some valid,
truth,
So you take that and then you twist it up a little bit. But the point I'm trying to get to is, you cannot be the creator of the company, the salesperson, the marketing person, the accountant. Like I said earlier, you'll do everything and none of it well. So very quickly decide what you are going to do in your company, then work out, what other resource can I bring in? Because you are wasting your time and money by doing everything. So I like to put it this way, right? If I, as a resource, costs 1,000 kwacha, and I let's say selling cars, right? And my cars are 10,000 kwacha. No, this is bad maths. 100,000, whatever, like 100,000, big money. If I go and I start creating the flyer for my company, where's the salesperson when the car is sitting there? Now I'm creating this because I've got a bit of design skills. I can do it. My small design skills mean 4 hours is how long it actually takes me to design something. A skilled designer would take an hour to do that thing. But I'm still proud of myself. I can do this design business. It's easy.
It's not that complicated. They just want a lot of money.
Exactly. So you do all of those small things. The designer might have cost you, let's say, 2,000 kwacha. Like I said, your role is 1,000, right? You spent 4 hours. So it cost you 4,000 to make that thing because you spent 4 hours.
Yes.
They would have cost 1 hour. They would have made 1,000, right? So it's a maths game. It's a money game. Now, like I said, if I'm designing this, I'm wasting 4,000 kwacha. My car, 100,000 has still not been sold. So I would have been better standing there trying to sell the car, paying you to do the flyer. Now, better yet, if I want to, I'm selling Range Rover, right? So now I need customers who can afford Range Rover. Not these little ones who are walking past going, one day I'm going to have this car. We don't want the one days. Exactly. Yeah? So you now need to find somebody, or you need to be the person who goes to the big events where Range Rover buyers are. Right? Now, I need a salesperson because you're going to sell one car for 100,000. I'm going to go find 10 customers. So I need to sell 10 of those cars. So understand where your value is best spent. And it's not on the easy job.
No.
And where you think, design is easy.
I can do it.
Sure, but it's not the thing you should be doing. If it's so easy, pay someone who can do easy jobs. Right? I was going to say, get the cowboy, because that's why we have them, right? Pay somebody else to do it. Know where your worth is best spent. So
that is really cool. You know, Yango is a thing now, and obviously it's a little bit cheaper and stuff like that. But I remember being like one of the early users of even Orlando, and people would be like, "You're using Orlando, isn't it expensive?" I'm buying myself 2 hours that I would spend on the bus. I'm buying the 2 hours that I can go and rest.
Paying
so that
for value.
I can, You see what I mean? And I think that's something that maybe we're beginning to understand a little bit more now. That when you spend money, you're not wasting it.
No.
If you're putting it where there's value. And the value, it doesn't necessarily, it won't look the same. Sometimes the value that you're getting back is time, which you can price. Like Tanya is saying, like my time is worth, 1 hour is worth so much money. So when I pay 30 kwacha for my Yango to get somewhere, I'm buying myself value in terms of my time. And I think if we understood that, not just in the marketing space, in the business space in general, you know, and not to forward the corruption agenda. There's a meme that I saw from Twitter where someone was saying, "What has been your experience with getting driver's licenses?" And someone responded and said, "I just sent 2,000 on mobile money and it was delivered to me." And Anti-Corruption Commission replied and said, "We also want a driver's license delivered to us. Please give us the information." And so, someone said, "Guys, a driving license is only 312. You don't need to go and spend 2,000 kwacha." You know why someone is willing to spend 2,000 kwacha? Because getting a driver's license won't cost you 300 kwacha.
No.
It will cost you a week of back and forth to get that appointment. It will cost you 3 failed tests because maybe the driving instructor was salty. It will cost you all the mental strain that is going into when someone pays that 2,000 kwacha, they are buying time. And that has value. And what you said is amazing. Find where your time is most valuable and invest.
Prioritize. Prioritize.
Yeah, I think probably the other thing that we would like to ask is, in your time here, what is maybe a marketing campaign that you've seen and you've been like, this is marketing at its best?
in Zambia.
Come on, they're good ones.
Okay, maybe not marketing at its best, but like, okay, we're making strides. Okay, please show us some grace. Somewhere where it was like
one that
they tried.
Yes, one that impressed you.
There isn't one.
Wow.
Yo,
Tough crowd.
really tough. You think we were grilled? When I tell you we were grilled.
Yeah.
in that first meeting.
I'm glad I wasn't there.
Let me give you an example, right? As in, if you think that I could be impressed by what Zambia does, this is why I am not impressed. So, do you know who David Guetta is?
Yes.
DJ, right? David Guetta did a music video. I can't remember how long ago, but even this is like pre-COVID. It was a long time ago. He did a music video where it was a racing thing. And so he goes onto the racetrack and I think it had like the song, right? And it had a nice story to it. Now, the video that he did, they did a really clever thing that if you took your phone and put it next to your computer, the car would drive from the screen to your phone.
Oh.
And so he's doing something here and then walking. And I'm like,
wow.
Damn.
Yeah.
Now, how you do that? Right?
Show me. I want to do that.
And you want me to be impressed with the Instagram advertising of Zambia?
Yes.
How?
Let me rephrase the question.
Yes, please.
Given that you've admitted how behind we are, you said 5 years, I think now you said 3 years. Given that, is there any marketing campaign that you think was got a bit of your attention?
No. And so, I'll give you another one, but also I'll say why I think that this is happening, right? There was a charity that did a campaign that did a big screen. So you're just walking, around, and then you see this big screen, and then it had a loaf of bread in it, and then it said, give someone a slice of, I don't know, like slice this and give them a meal. And so you take your credit card, and there was a slot through this big monitor, and as you slice down, the bread cuts and it drops.
Oh, wow, that's creative.
Right?
That's very creative.
You guys.
Right?
You guys.
And you want me to be impressed. No. So I think what's happening is because, like I said, you're just catching up, right? Yeah. Look, the airport just got a redesign, right? We're only impressed with the airport's redesign. How can, what else is there that's going to be impressive?
Yeah.
Right? So now, there's a football pitch. That's impressive. Like, we're only impressed with new infrastructure. That's what's impressing Zambians. We have more, another mall, right? That's what Zambians are impressed with. Another restaurant. This one opened 3 months ago. But now let's go to this one, right? Yeah. Cargo. When Cargo opened, right? I went there with somebody. We were like, let's go check it out. I think it was like the first week. First thing you notice is that my Instagrammers, the girls, just outside, right?
They're called baddies.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah, they're Insta
baddies. Insta baddies.
Wanna baddie. So first I look at them, I'm like, ugh. Okay, firstly they were all congregated. They're all congregated outside.
On the most photogenic spot?
No,
not
all
even.
Congregated outside because at that point Cargo was saying you have to have appointments to come in.
Ooh.
Okay.
So now they couldn't even go inside and pose, which is what they wanted to do, right? Okay. But again, the crowd always goes for the first impressive thing. Zambians don't know longevity. No. They don't know how to respect something, right? So I think we have longevity brands, but do we respect them? I mean, we'll give them kudos once in a while, like Trade Kings and like Rivonia, right? Rivonia was a brand when I was young. And when I came back, I was like, oh my God, I get to get Rivonia products, right?
Yeah.
That was what I was excited about. The Rivonia bottle is crap. The labeling is like, my God, that was made in 82, that label. You still haven't updated, right? And it's cheap plastic naff, like it's basic stuff. Do more. Your brand has been going for so long. Make it better, make it more interesting. Even Coca-Cola has classic Coke, modern Coke, right? They don't settle on what they always were. So this is what's fundamentally missing.
Yeah. And I like that you're touching on, for instance, like talking about Rivonia and how they still have the same bottle. And we wanted to ask your perspective on Zambian consumer behavior and what the differences are, because that I think rests on us also as consumers. Like what you're talking about, do we respect brands enough? Like, are there those things that we love enough to be able to subscribe to, like you were saying, and be a subscriber for a lifetime? So what are the differences that you are seeing in us as consumers, and how we approach products and how we consume and all of that compared to where you're coming from?
This can be a long answer, and really, I think to answer probably should be long, but we'll see how we get on. Do you remember, like, if people would say, have you hoovered the house? Right? So Hoover is a brand. What you actually meant was, have you vacuumed the house? Right? You would say, now kota Colgate. Right? Yeah. So there are established brands. You know, every drink was a Coca-Cola, right? Those brands are established. But what all that means is, like, it's been drummed into us long enough that we suddenly associate with that. And it happens like everywhere else. You know, have you Googled that? Yes. Right? You can use Bing. Nobody has told you, can you Bing it? Exactly. But we all now default to the one thing that we all know that we've become accustomed to. And I think the problem with Zambia, it's like a political thing. If you remember in the 90s, I don't know if you guys remember. You're very young.
Very young.
Oh, the quickness to respond.
We're 90s babies.
Which part of the 90s?
Right.
Please.
So, in fact, you won't remember when the currency was debased, right? So there was a point where the kwacha was like 5. You don't even know what I'm talking about.
I thought you're talking about 2012.
No.
That's rebased. Yeah.
So the kwacha was like 5,000, 7,000. I can't even remember what it got to to the dollar. And then the currency got debased, and then they, kind of realigned everything. Was this Chuluba time? I don't even know, because I was away. But what was I trying to say?
We're talking about consumer behavior and how we treat products.
Respect our brands.
Colgate and the Hoover.
I don't know what I was going to go to. But let me shift back a little bit. So we get accustomed to it. So and the other thing, like, I have to keep talking about church because it's the biggest influencer. It's the most successful marketing tactic in Zambia.
Okay.
I upset my mother one time, and I said, Jesus Christ was the best marketing tactic ever in the history of the world, because something that was written 5,000 years ago, we're still talking about now. So that is success in marketing, right? So religion is a success in marketing. Let me come from Europe to teach these Africans, these savages, how to be civilized, right? You put them into a room, you tell them to pray, you tell them that their sins will be forgiven if they do X, Y, Z. Follow this path and you will be the best person you can be. It's a marketing tactic. Here are the rules, here are the guidelines. Success equals following these things. Now, if you've been drummed into that kind of thinking, it becomes very difficult to shift people's thinking into something else. And because, like I said, infrastructurally, Zambia has been very slow to change, right? In the UK, sometimes you go to a place and you're like, I don't even know where I am. Because
it's
like
change
that,
was quick.
they've changed it. Right here, like, it's been, like the same since God knows when. Some of it is changing now. But, so I'm distracting myself. So, people here are too used to what they know, right? People eat nshima 3 times a day, right? Which surprises me. But because they're so used to you eating nshima, hunger means nshima, right? My mom and dad opened a church in Mansa, and then we opened a school in that church. So we were like, okay, the kids are going to have food. Let's vary the food. Nshima on Mondays, rice on Tuesdays, potato on Wednesday. And I'm like, but we have to educate these children to eat differently. And so people say, right? So you have to understand, you're so ingrained that changing you is actually quite difficult. Now, company X comes along. and they want social media marketer to sell their product, and I want it to be the best product. With Tungwe, I'm only paying you. I'm not even giving you a budget, right? Just your effort should bring me loads of money and customers. How are you going to change the fundamental thinking of those people?
Becomes very difficult.
If your company is a rice company and you want to infiltrate Zambia to be rice eaters, how long is that going to take you? How much money is that going to take you?
The culture shift would be huge for that to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
AIDS was a great example of this.
Yeah.
It was the first time I remember the government putting billboards everywhere.
Yeah.
These activation campaigns in all the villages. AIDS is this. Mukalwala so, mule fuala makondo, mule yabika so. Like teaching you everything because they had to educate you on why you needed to not have unprotected sex. Most people didn't know about AIDS until they got it. Then suddenly everyone in the family had it. But still, your husband would still say, no, we're not wearing protection, even though I've slept with these 10 other women, right? So all of that's an education to culture. How do you shift that?
Yeah.
Culture is hard to change. Worse off behavior.
But so back to my point, it also needs money.
Yeah.
The government spent a lot of money to do USAID and all these other people.
Not the government.
No.
Well,
Take it back.
To sensitize the people.
Right.
Yeah.
To educate, right? And that's how that change happened. You know, suddenly it was okay to wear a condom.
Yeah.
Right? Now, let's make a rice company. Let's change Zambia. How are you going to do it? I'm going to turn the tables on you guys. How are you going to make Zambia a rice-eating country?
Becomes very
yes,
difficult.
Tukia. How are you going to
It
make
becomes very difficult. You're talking about vacation. I mean, the day I came back, I had Shima twice that day.
These are the people on the cutting edge.
No.
The people who are exposed.
However, I am open
Yes.
to new experiences, which is why I was trying delicacies in different countries.
Yes.
And it was just because I loved Nshima.
Yeah.
And we also can't run away from the fact that tastes and preferences do differ. I mean, if you're really going to set up, or rather try and supply rice.
No. It's, it takes something like 6 times to have something before. Like if I gave you salty water,
Yes.
right? Yes, preferences. I don't drink salty water.
Yes.
But after 6 of them, you'll be like, okay,
so
I
bad.
can down it if I have to.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. If
Then
you're backed into a corner.
Then it becomes the only drink on planet Earth.
Correct.
Guess what? You'll be drinking that shit like it's champagne.
Which is what I always tell him, to say I don't eat fish. Like for me, anything underwater is very difficult for me to yes, anything
It's
that
fussy.
It's not easy.
however, he always says if you go to a place where there's only fish and seafood, watch the way you're going to
Gonna do.
change. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Watch the way you're going to change.
And so this is what I'm saying about changing Zambia. And I think Nshima is just a great example, right? Let's change Zambia. And this is like like we should do a use case, right?
Yeah.
How do we change Zambia to become a rice-eating country? Let's say even pasta. Like,
Yeah, it doesn't have to be rice.
yeah. So what's that company, Java Foods,
Yes.
right? They introduced noodles.
Yeah.
But again, that company's been going 10 years. How much of the market do they have? What they've done is they've just kept going. That's the tenacity, right? That's consistency. And all of those are part of the things that you should do in marketing. But have they changed Zambia's eating habits?
Questionable.
They haven't changed it, but they've introduced.
They have introduced
Which,
it.
Yeah.
if we're talking about the Zambian market, which I think is a very big thing,
Yes.
you know what I mean? And like, the Nshima example is actually really, really good. I don't eat as much Nshima. And for me, the conversation is someone will ask me, or like they'll come to my house and say, yeah, Nshima, I don't even buy mealie meal. You know what I mean? I don't even buy mealie meal. It's not that deep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then someone will come and they are so shocked.
Yes.
But it's like there's so many other
shocked
things
that
you
you
can
don't
try.
have.
Yes, they're shocked that I don't have.
Yeah.
Why don't you have? Like, how can you not have? But like, there's other things I can eat that are options that are there. So it's like, how do we get people to see that there are other options? Like those 6 tries.
Yes.
It's tries. Like, how do we bring someone to the point where they're willing to even try?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, let me try it again and let me try it again. And that's the difficult part. And what I was going to say is the organization that I work for, we are an international organization, but we're working here locally as well. And so I'm working for an NGO, and like, when I tell someone I'm a marketer and I'm working for an NGO, it's like, are you really? Is that what it is? That is what it is. And we're actually selling this program that is meant to, help young people build soft skills, which at the end of the day are useful for the world of work. It is hard. Yeah. It is so hard.
I can imagine.
And especially that when you talk about soft skills, it's intangible. What's the benefit? Are you going to give me money?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not giving you money, but like these skills you're going to get when you go to work, they'll help you. Yeah. Starting even from heads of schools, the government schools where most of the kids are.
Yeah.
It is such a hard sell. So when you talk about how difficult it is to break into the Zambian market, even for things like education, where we generally have a good appreciation for what it is, it's crazy. And I'm speaking from experience. It's very, 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 very hard.
But just to that point, Grace, that you're making about it's hard, right? It's the reason it's hard is because how many channels are you using, right? How are you doing that education? How much money is being spent?
Yes.
If you're just a voice talking to somebody, of course you're going to be hit with doubt. But now you're a voice and then you hand over a book. That book is the next stage of what they take away with them. That book now has a website that they should also go to. On that website is 10 videos. All of those things are the educational elements that need to be involved for them to be convinced. You're just a talker. I can also talk. But now it's down in hard print. It's down online. After I've spoken to you 6 months later, I can go back and watch that video. I've forgotten what you said, but that video reminds me what that conversation was, right? Now there's a big poster as well, right? So all of those things are the things that cost money that Zambia doesn't consider. It's not just let's have a social media marketing manager because digital is easy. Put up a poster. Put up a flyer, be on ZMBC, be on every digital channel, right? That's what, whenever you see something launched in the UK, you see it everywhere.
360 marketing.
Not just on their social media site with 12 likes, right?
Yeah.
And that involves money. And Zambia doesn't know how to put money into marketing. They put it into their Hiluxes.
So that goes back to like IMCs, right? How do we integrate our marketing communications? Like you said, you put it everywhere and accordingly. So you have one, you speak one message everywhere that it's found. So I'm trying to now somewhat bring everything you've said. So far we've talked about the continuous learning bit that we said, like if you're going to be in marketing, you need to reach a point where you need to love learning. You started in hotel management, got into it and kept on developing yourself. Now you're sought after by companies. And like you said, you will work. When you're done with your work, you move to another company for even greater pay. And that's just, that's been the trend. So we've got the continuous learning bit. Then we have the exposure bit. So the fact that you've been out there and you've been out there for so long, it's almost, it comes back to, there's a time when we had, I think there was the cholera bit. I can't remember the year before where we had the soldiers sent out and the police officers in the streets to clean up. Okay. When people came from outside their country and came into Zambia, they still had this perspective of, oh, it's dirty here. Us who are in Zambia, we're out here like, move down, it's clean.
We are walking.
When
the vendors were first removed.
Exactly.
And we're like, wow, I can walk in town. No one is bumping into me.
It was the same for UNWTO. I think that must have been 2010 2013, I think. Yes. I'm not sure if it was, I can't remember, the tourism minister at the time ordered for Livingston to be clean because we were hosting the UNWTO conference. And like you're saying, we thought it was the cleanest Livingston had ever been, but people came like, it's dirty here. Perception is everything.
So perception is everything. So then I want to give an analogy, right, that I heard a while ago. This room we're in, okay, let's assume we've been in this room our whole lives. Okay, we may have cracked windows, cobwebs everywhere, but because we've been here so long, it's normalized, and that's just the way of life. So not until one of us goes outside, stays there, and then comes back and says, oh, these cobwebs and this broken window is not normal. We should clear this up. And maybe to a great extent, that's going back to the learning bit. We have a lot of theory in-house, but it's not something that, we've exposed ourselves very well to what's happening outside, that we bring it here and then be able to change marketing in-house to that extent. Yes.
Yeah. So many nuggets here.
Yeah, a lot of learning.
So many
points.
nuggets here. We should be winding up. We have a few things, but we should be winding up.
I'm just getting started.
And for the listeners, I can guarantee you that this conversation is going to continue even after we're done recording.
Yes.
And the beauty is we expect
This
to
is
see more
where you
of
get a
Madam Tanya.
Patreon account,
Yes.
right? If you want to listen to more, join the Patreon account.
Give us the money.
Hey.
Yeah, TK, you're going to say something.
Yes, we've spoken so much about money, and we know that indeed it is a scarce resource. So my question would be, what strategies would you encourage business owners and even companies with limited budgets or very little money to still have a customer-centric approach and still make money with the various marketing tools that are available to them?
So, firstly, you can't be all things to all men, right? You have to know how to niche down, right? Or as the Americans like to say, niche down, right? Define what your niche is. So, for example, and probably not so much here, but in the UK, if you go to a salon, right? A salon will do hair, they'll do cosmetic surgery, they'll do outside surgery, they'll do like liposuction type of thing, right? So here's an example. So as a salon, I have limited money, right? It probably cost me all the money that I have. A good starting point is you were working for somebody and then you said, I can do this as well. But you were the employee, right? They were paying you. Now that a small budget you have, you then go to open your store, right? And you do the minimum that you can with the maximum budget that you have, right? But you think, hey, I need to offer 100 different things because that's what you offer when you're in a salon. Now I'm advertising my salon, right? Zambian advertising would be like, come to our salon, open 9 to 5, Mondays to Thursdays. So what?
Yeah.
Right? What do you want me to come for? Right? Now, if you're a salon who knows that actually in Lusaka there's 50 salons. This one does natural hair. This one does eyebrows and waxing. But nobody does liposuction, right? The other problem with Zambia, I call it's a Me Too country. Me too, I want to do tomatoes.
Yes.
Me too, I want to do agriculture, right? Don't be a me too. Stand out, right? Don't follow what everyone's doing so you can get a kangwe out of the big pot. Do something and stand out. So now I decide for my salon, I'm actually going to focus on liposuction, right? I reduce the lipo, the visible lipo that you have, right? I offer this service. You're not interested because you guys are men. But you might be interested, right? But I'm actually further going to say I'm offering a service primarily to women who just had children, right?
That's your niche.
So rather than going, guys, all of you can come to my salon and none of you come, or typical Zambians, you come once and then you go to the new salon that's opening, right?
Yeah.
So now there's a niche.
Yes. Are you a new mom?
Whenever someone wants lipo, where are they going?
To my salon.
Mine, because I'm the only one who's highlighting it.
Yeah.
So all of my marketing is about that. We offer lipo to help you do X, Y, Z. What is the problem I'm solving? Is your lipo visible? Do you feel uncomfortable with your lipo? Have you just had a child? Our lipo service will help you in quick time, in an hour, in whatever it is, what are those solution points? What are those benefit points? You will look like the queen you are in less than a week. That's my marketing, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm there, I've got my lipo. I want to look like a queen.
Yeah, I want to.
Let me go and look like a queen.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't remember what else the question was, but
Limited budget.
right. Yeah. So now, because your budget is limited, don't sell 100 different things. Sell one, sell it well. Okay. So now when I come for lipo, I'm also going to tell you, you know what? That lipo place, it's amazing. That's where you need to go. Yeah. Right? Suddenly, I become known for that service. So my small budget was spent wisely. And it's making me money now. It's brought in other customers. Yeah. Now, don't tell me about Valentine's Day. Oh my God, it's the only time there's been noise on Instagram, and it's all about love. Zanaco Bank telling me about Valentine's. For what?
They
Who
love
are you?
They
Love and appreciate you.
And your money.
and your money.
Mostly your money.
Only your money. Only. They don't love you. They just want your money.
That's a really, really good response. And I think something that's important to us on these episodes is for people to have actionable steps for what they can go out and do. And I think we've captured that in this episode. We're giving value to the listeners for sure. 2 more questions as we wind down. Number 1, a product or a service that, like, when you think of it, it's like, this is a Zambian, like it embodies the Zambian, a brand, a product that you would pick that embodies the Zambian consumer.
It doesn't have to impress you. It just has to be Zambian.
No, and I think it's the Nshima.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, like 3 times a day.
Ouch.
It's eaten 365 days, potentially 3 times a day.
Yeah.
In most families are 4+ people.
Yeah.
What's the biggest selling thing in Zambia?
Yes, we go there, Millie Meal. It's
And
politicized.
There are feelings, people will be upset if it's not there. And you even eat it in different forms. It's in munkoyo, it's in porridge, it's the nshima itself, the maheo.
And nobody has bothered to jazz up Nshima. We just accept. Wali wisa mwisaka so chapwa.
Yeah.
Hashtag 5 kg. Hashtag 10 kg.
Yeah.
But nobody is like, oh, there's this like a boutique bag that they're now selling it in, and it looks so cute. And they've even actually mixed in saffron with the Nshima.
I saw a clip of a Zimbabwean TikToker who had, I think he seasoned it, and I think there was carrot in there. And the Zambians were like, where is this? And let me be honest with you. Let me just be real with you. I was like, I don't know. I don't know, bro. I'm not sure. And I'm open-minded, but leave this shit alone.
Exactly.
That's the one who made them into like
so
little,
ingrained.
like almost like French fries.
No.
No.
That's another one.
Okay. Yeah.
Thinking of that guy for offals, but that's another conversation. Carry on.
So one time my sister and I in the UK, so my sister likes to cook and like, because I used to do the catering thing. So we always used to do fun things. Now we were like, we want to introduce the Mzungus to Nshima. So there's a thing called beef Wellington in the UK. So
very famous.
So it's like pastry, and then you take your beef joint and then you fold it up in it. And so you've done your meat, you've seasoned your meat, and then your pastry on the outside, and it's delicious.
Yeah.
So we were like, let's take mincemeat. So we make mincemeat into like a tube thing, and then we wrapped it in Nshima, and then we did the slices.
Shima Wellington.
And it looked really nice.
I would eat that. I would eat that. Just don't put the carrots in there.
Again, it's just like, how can you make it more appealing? Because every time you give a Muzungu Nshima, what do they say?
What do they say?
You guys.
Most people have a challenge with the method in which we
the
eat.
taste.
Yes.
What do they say about the taste?
Flat.
It's tasteless.
Yes. Yeah. Like
So why does every Zambian eat Nshima if it's tasteless?
Shima has a flavor.
I know.
Yes.
It has and when you
But
cook
why
it
does
right,
it have a flavor? It's back to my water with salt.
Okay, yeah.
And
Been eating
I'll just
for
say it
so long.
it depends on the shima. You can add cassava to it. You could
I
jazz it
love
up.
it with cassava.
You
Yes.
could. There's sorghum. There's
Yeah.
millet. There's so many things that you could do with the shima. But yeah, we'll end up.
Go keep going. It's a whole conversation. It's a whole conversation. Who would be a good guest for us? Someone we can learn from, someone who can like shake up our thinking about marketing,
Yeah.
Maybe someone we can follow on social media. Who's somebody that we can learn from in the marketing space?
Me. There's just me.
Yeah. No, you've proven. Yeah, in the last.
No, I'll put it this way. I haven't had much opportunity to really get to know a marketer. So like I said, I can't look at something and go, I wonder who did that. I want to know who that person is. And there's a few to my like digital marketing agencies that are kind of standing out. But that only means they've just copied what everyone else does, right? But really being able to string together like a big campaign and make it really cool, I really don't know. But what I would say, who has the budget to do these things and who has the opportunity because of numbers to play with it is somebody. So the person I know, it's the marketing, he's the CMO for MTN. So his name is Richard Achiempong. So he's actually Ghanaian, and he's been in Zambia for I think about 3 or so years. I met him a little while ago. I don't know him very well, but we've battled marketing, right? But the reason I say it is like this is what Zambians miss, and I would also say they potentially don't even take advantage of this. They have a huge database of users. Numbers educate you. What are the number of users that you have? What are the users doing on your platform? What are their behaviors? Somebody like him has access to all of that information. He should be able to take that and say, this is a new area that we're working in. So one of the things him and I deliberated on, I said to him, I had this impression when I came that Airtel was for locals like Abakumushi, like in the compounds. They're the ones who have Airtel. The middle class, they have MTN. So, I mean, I didn't know this. When I came, somebody said, let's go, we'll go and get you a SIM card. And we went into MTN. I had no idea about it. But so now those are the definitions that have come out around it. And so I was like, okay, well, if I'm kind of like your middle class, right? I have a good income. I don't buy bundles 10 kwacha a day. Why are you selling me 10 kwacha a day? Right? Why are you wasting my time? I buy monthly bundles. In fact, I want 6 months of bundles. I can pay like this. Why are you wasting my time? I've got better things to do than go to my app and spend 5 minutes.
Every day.
Right?
Yeah.
But he was saying, well, no, the majority of buyers do this. So numbers, the majority of buyers do this, but how much are you making? And then the minority of buyers pay more. So what are you making? Right? So those are the things that numbers can help you play with.
And I think Airtel, I've seen Airtel send out messages like, you don't need to be buying a 10 kwacha bundle. I don't know if you guys have received that message from Airtel.
No.
It's just me.
They're showing you habits.
Hey,
Too many 10 kwachas.
Exposed.
It's
But
funny
it's
you
like,
came with
there's
that
this
impression.
There's this offer, you can buy a bigger bundle, da.
No.
I haven't seen it. But it's good you came with that impression because I have this impression of Airtel versus MTN as MTN being the Copper Belt network
Yes.
and Airtel being the
Yes.
Lusaka network. So you
Yes.
find that most people, all of us here in Lusaka, probably have an Airtel line. And if you go on the Copper Belt, most of them have MTN. I guess MTN just took advantage of the market there first as Airtel
Compared to here.
and that's why in Lusaka you hear Airtel money more than you hear anything else.
Yeah, every Yango driver just has Airtel.
Yes.
And I was going to go to an example just like that. There was a younger driver who I was with, and I asked, can I pay using Airtel money? He says, no. I said, you're from the Copper Belt. He said, yes.
Oh.
Yeah. It's quite segmented that way. And I actually use both Airtel and MTN. And there was obviously there's the Copper Belt connotation. But I started out with MTN. I'm not even sure why. I started out with MTN. And I'll tell you, I had a really, really good experience the first 10 years that I was using it.
Okay.
In the last two years, I don't recommend, and Airtel seems to be winning.
So my phone is MTN, and then I put a Airtel SIM in here.
Yeah.
This week, the app is telling me money not sent. The driver goes, "Thank you, madam, received." And I'm about to press send again.
Yeah.
Right? It's because their app is not working.
And I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about how even in app use, there's so many more people. I mean, I don't know about the call bill, but there's so many more people who why don't you have the app? Airtel. Why don't you have the Airtel app? MTN has an app. I have not even been able to install it on my phone. I've downloaded it, and I don't know what happened when I was down. It just it wouldn't work. So it's where's the gap, MTN? I've had my SIM card for maybe 10 years, and I would really like to continue to be a loyal MTN subscriber.
You now have this.
We need Richard.
CMO.
Yes,
exactly.
we need
coming
Richard.
for you. I don't know how.
I need to warn him.
I don't know where, but we will find you.
Firstly, sorry. Secondly,
all the best.
Would love to have Richard on the show.
Yeah, we would.
I'll send him a message that you're inviting him. So.
Please.
Awesome.
Otherwise, it's been a good conversation.
It's been a good conversation.
I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yes, and just like we said at the beginning, this is how we move from 30 minutes to over an hour conversing.
Yeah.
But yes, it's that good, and we hope we have more conversations with you, Tanya. It's very insightful and a lot that the audience can learn from. So we now come to the end of our show
program. Yeah.
And with that, please remember to keep your finger on the marketing pulse.
We hope that you have enjoyed today's episode just as much as we have.
Till next time, remember to keep your finger on the marketing pulse.